Alright, it's Don Huddersfield here, and welcome to How Did They Get So Big? Today we're talking about something a lot of people wouldn't have expected to get this popular. It's not a tech company, it's not a supermarket giant, or a global franchise, and it's certainly not a big Hollywood blockbuster film. It's a bakery. The sausage roll empire that always strikes back. It's got more than 2,600 shops and counting across the UK. Greggs is a chain that gets described online as selling meal deal food for twice the price, and yet somehow it dominates the British high street more than almost any other brand. In some towns you can't walk more than 30 seconds without seeing two Greggs in quick succession. Some people say that so you can visit twice in one day without feeling embarrassed. In the North East where it all began, there were even 24-hour Greggs serving food and drinks around the clock, even in the dead of night. So today we're asking, just how did Greggs get so big? And why has it survived and outgrown so many competitors over the decades? Greggs was the local bakery which refused to stay local. It began in 1939 and was founded by John Gregg in Newcastle upon Tyne. For years it wasn't even a shop, it was just a small bakery delivering bread and yeast to local families. The first actual Greggs shop didn't open until 1951. And there was very little to suggest that it was going to achieve national dominance in the future. It was one of hundreds of small British bakeries serving their local communities. But after John Gregg died in 1964, something strange happened. Instead of shrinking or stabilising, Greggs expanded. Throughout the 1970s and 80s, Greggs started to see off more and more regional bakery chains across the UK. Instead of competing with them, it bought them. These included bakeries in Glasgow, chains in Leeds, outlets in Manchester, independents in London. One by one, Greggs acquired and rebranded them. By the time the public realised Greggs was a national brand, it had already replaced a huge amount of the competition. Greggs didn't fight for market share, it pretty much just bought the market instead. For most of its life, Greggs was a traditional bakery, selling bread, cakes, pastries, the usual high street mix. But by the early 2010s, supermarkets were destroying that business model because they could sell bread cheaper, in bulk and more conveniently than any other bakery chain could compete with. So Greggs had to decide whether to die slowly or reinvent itself. And that's why it stopped trying to be just a bakery and became a full food-on-the-go business. Stores started opening earlier and closing later. Breakfast and lunch became a big focus, and hot savoury food became central to its offerings. There were fewer bread and traditional bakery items, and stores were redesigned for speed and convenience. Greggs became somewhere that people would pass through every day rather than somewhere they'd visit occasionally. It was great for commuters, parents on a school run, staff on a lunch break, shift workers, and even hungry clubbers. And that's why it stopped being a bakery and became a habit. Some people say Greggs sells cheap crap that's overhyped just because it's cheap. Others say they love it, and one reason for that is because they know what they're getting every time. Some people say both opinions are right. Greggs doesn't win the market by offering the best cuisine. It does so by being predictable and helping people to refuel quickly whenever they need to. Sausage rolls, steak bakes, bacon rolls, pizza slices, they're not complex food. They're built around salt, fat, pastry and warmth. They're designed for quick satisfaction, not culinary analysis. Even many people who criticise Greggs still go there when they're hungry, tired or in a rush. It's not supposed to be fine dining, it's functional food, and that's exactly why it works. Greggs' identity is still deeply tied to the North East, and in Newcastle it feels like something that's always been there. Over the years, plenty of businesses have tried to operate in the same space as Greggs. Independent bakeries don't really scale beyond their local areas. Premium chains like Pret a Manger target office districts and charge higher prices, while supermarkets dominate the ultra-cheap end with the meal deals. Coffee chains dominate the hot drinks market. But no one has the exact position as Greggs. For a brand to compete with Greggs, it would need efficient national logistics, consistent pricing, huge store density, fast service, and a huge level of cultural familiarity. Most of its competitors manage one or two of these, but Greggs manages all of them. Today, Greggs is a full-scale national food operation. Not only has it got its 2,600 stores and rising, it's got drive-through locations, delivery partnerships, supermarket product lines, compact grab-and-go formats even when you want hot food, vending-style access points in transport hubs, and is completely unavoidable. Coverage in the media suggests that the brand wants to reach up to 3,000 locations in the UK in the coming years. One of the biggest turning points in the modern history of Greggs was the launch of the vegan sausage roll. It was a new product, but it was also a national event, making headlines, fueling debates, generating memes, and even causing culture war arguments. Greggs didn't shy away from the attention, they leaned into it. The marketing felt modern, made the most of social media culture, and it felt deliberately provocative. After that, Greggs even became a fashion brand with the Greggs Times Primark collaboration. This meant the logo was printed onto hoodies, tracksuits, bucket hats, socks, sliders, crossbody bags, and even underwear. People queued for it. They resold it online and wore it unironically. When a bakery brand becomes streetwear, that means it's an identity brand as well. It's not just competing when it comes to taste and price, it's now a clear cultural force. One of the clearest ways to understand Greggs' place in Britain is to compare it to Pret. Pret represents a polished urban office district lifestyle, whilst Greggs represents everything else. Many people call Greggs the working class answer to Pret. Pret might be for meetings, but Greggs is for builders, commuters, school runs and nights out. Greggs feels more British to many people because it's woven into everyday life across the whole country, not just big town and city centres. In the North East, Greggs feels like home. In the South, it had to win people over, and some people saw it as basic or overly cheap at first. But inevitably, convenience, habit and familiarity won. Independent bakeries are loved but fragile. Premium chains like Pret tend to target a different audience. Supermarkets undercut everyone on price, but they aren't as quick or easy to use when you're looking to refuel the pasty and a coffee in a few moments. Coffee chains dominate cafe-style food. Greggs sits perfectly in the middle. It's affordable, fast, consistent and scalable. However, Greggs isn't invincible. It's still facing rising ingredient costs, inflation, changing consumer habits, backlashes to price rises, and therefore people saying it used to be cheaper. They are right, prices have crept up. Some people are also wondering if the UK has reached peak Greggs. Is the country saturated by Greggs? Do we really need any more? It's still opening stores, expanding its formats and still adapting. Once you've looked at the history, the strategy and the culture, the real reason Greggs got so big is simple. It didn't try to win by being the best quality bakery, it won by being the most reliable solution to a simple problem. Where can I go to refuel quickly, cheaply and without having to think too much about it? Once a brand becomes that answer, it becomes part of its customers' daily routines. And that's it for How Did Greggs Get So Big? If you've enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe because we've got many more deep dives coming into the biggest names in British culture, music, food and everything in between. Let me know what you want next in the comments and I'll see you next time. I've been Don Huddersfield and that was How Did Greggs Get So Big? Subscribe!